It's Friday. You know what that means. Trending stories, hot topics. I thought let's do it a little bit different this time around. Bring an agent. Someone who's intermediary, middleman. The manager. Many names that they're called. They're in the thick of things. They're in the middle of the deals. And the second part of the season is talk of big deals, contracts. Gary Cassisa. Gary, you're going to have to teach me. Am I saying it correctly? Because I don't want you to say, hey, I started this and got people pronouncing your surname wrong.
You actually pronounce it the same way that it's read and spelled. Cassisa. So Cassisa. Cassisa.
Cassisa. Bet with Betway. Sign up with Betway using the code Soccerbeat and get 25 Rand extra bet. Please follow the link in our description and bio to redeem that code. Use the link in the bio and description. Big deals. You've been in the middle of, just in case people don't know, Tshegofatso Mabasa, part of your clientele, signed a big endorsement deal, contract also under the spotlight and linked to a big club in Europe.
Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, Tshego's, really been performing. He had a great start to the season, the previous season when he joined Swallows. Obviously coming off the bat from Sekhukhune, it was always going to be tough going on loan again. But, at the end of the day, I said to him, put your head down, work hard, and let's see what happens. That was the focus at the end of the day. Everyone's going to chase a striker putting the ball in the back of the net. So that was the goal. And then, just as things happened, things fell through at Swallows contractually, and it opened up a gap for him to go back to Pirates. Pirates needed another striker. Off he went, and golden boot at the end of the day. And it's just amazing how things actually work out, in football. And on top of that, he's obviously tried to keep that consistency at Pirates, which he has done. And, as 13 goals away from becoming the top goal scorer for Orlando Pirates. And as you mentioned, you look at the big endorsement deal he signed. I mean, that's just, the fruits and rewards of his labor, for all the hard work that he's done.
Big decision to be made if there's a record from an iconic club like Orlando Pirates sitting there. Your contract, you've got, you're going to give us clarity on the contract, got a year left. So you do stay to achieve that personally. You also have to look after yourself, checking your age and your status as a player as well. Complicated times. Take us through that conversation.
Yeah, I wouldn't say complicated times. It's actually good times. He's got one more season left on his contract. Pirates do want to retain his services. They have reached out to us. We are obviously discussing figures, back and forth at the moment. So the negotiations are ongoing. But it's no secret that there's a lot of other interest from outside of the country, from Saudi Arabia, China. There's a club in England that's interested in him in the championship. Just trying to think where else. Qatar. So everyone's chasing a goal-scoring striker, and he's top of the list. So I wouldn't say it's a complicated situation. I mean, ideally, you'd want to, hit those targets at Pirates and try to be the all-time top goal scorer and make history. With Pirates, but we've got to look at the other options out there. Clubs like Saudi, clubs Qatar, China. Those guys throw big money contracts at players, and you can't turn a blind eye to it, So we've got to evaluate all the options, all the offers, and then take it from there.
If locally, you think there's potential.
Locally, in terms of,
the Chiefs are looking for a striker. Would it change anything having a conversation and saying Tshego's got a year left?
Yeah, look, I mean, he's got a year left. Pirates would let him go for a transfer fee if they get that transfer fee for this next season. Would he make a move to Chiefs after setting a record like Pirates? I don't know. I haven't had that conversation with him yet. Sundowns, win trophies, win a lot of trophies. It's no secret that Sundowns pay massive contracts. I'm sure Pirates would then obviously want to match that type of contract, especially if he hits those targets and he breaks that record. Why wouldn't you want to retain one of your current legends that's in form, you know? Um, so I don't think Pirates would let him go that easily. I think they would want to fight hard to keep him and see what they could do to make him happy, and I think it's quite a milestone to hit a goal like that
100%.
and become all-time top goal scorer for your club, and yeah, exactly. And I think for Pirates, I mean, if I owned the club, I would literally break the bank to want to keep him. Let him finish his career at the club, let him retire as an all-time legend. You know, um, and I think that's another topic we should actually hop onto. I don't think the clubs do enough for their legends. For life after football. I think the
Yeah,
clubs should definitely get the legends more involved. But yeah, Pirates have a legend to be, if not in this season, next season. Um, Definitely, do what you must to keep him. I mean, at the end of the day, if he can retire a Buccaneer, and he gets a really, really good contract, I mean, that's a fairy tale ending, I would think. And then, obviously look at national team too. Keep fighting for national team spots. We've got AFCON coming up. We've got World Cup coming up. But again, that said, the type of contracts that these clubs in China and Qatar and Saudi throw around, there's going to be a lot of difficult decisions to be made. But at the end of the day, I can only guide and advise. That's his decision ultimately. So
yeah.
complicated, no, but a lot of deep thinking, I think, needs to go into his next decision when it comes to his next contract. But all very
Another one,
exciting.
another of your clients that's yeah, of course, of course. That's what you sign up for in this. In this, you want to be in the blockbuster deals. I mean, it's about agency. You think popping bottles in nightclubs. It's flashy, flashy. You want to be blockbuster. Terrence Mashego also big conversations. Bafana are I'm not gonna say lacking, but a thin, at left back. If Terrence is playing, fans on Soccerbeat are talking and saying Terrence is a candidate for this. Karen, when he's not playing, there's worries about where he's at. What a trajectory as
Mm,
well from Cape Town City, boom boom.
mm,
But yeah, also some decisions to be made. Afcon ticket also on the line here. Time is running
mm,
out.
mm. Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, it's been a bit of a roller coaster at Sundowns for Terrence, in terms of game time. But Hugo Bruce knows his qualities. He knows what he can do. He knows he's an experienced player, an experienced candidate, not just at PSL level, but at national team level. And should Hugo Bruce call on him, Terrence will make himself available. Um, I think it's just about sort of seeing now what happens with the rest of the season. Can he get a bit more game time under his belt? It's a difficult one.
How would you like to win a little something extra just for joining the best in the game? For a limited time, we are teaming up with Betway and giving all of you access to a Soccerbeat exclusive. If you join Betway using the sign up code Soccerbeat, now in March, you'll get 25 Rand extra bet. That's right. It's time to get way more out of every bet. Standard T's and C's apply.
Otherwise, we have been in talks with Sundowns to see maybe an option for a move, for next season for game time. So I think it just comes down to that. I reckon if he does get more game time, it's going to make his chances a lot easier in terms of getting into the national team. So I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's a bit of game time. But as I said, I mean, Hugo Bruce knows his ability, he knows what he can do. You might find a player that's had less game time is fresh. He's not injured, he's not tired. He can come in and he can do a job for you. He's donned the green and gold plenty of times. So, it won't be anything new to Terrence. I think if he puts that Bafana jersey on, he knows the job that he needs to do. He knows the workload and he knows what's expected of him, through his previous experiences. So,
There's
I
enough
think,
there's enough sporting reasons, but there's enough sporting reasons to always wonder what you can do. So there's many reasons to stay at Sundowns as well, and push, because you're always gonna ask yourself what could have been, how far could I have pushed. How are those conversations like?
yeah, look, I mean, Sundowns, it's always a difficult club to join as any player. And when I say difficult, it's like, you're going in there knowing that they have quality players, they sign quality players. You're competing against the best in South Africa. I think a player that signs with Sundowns is always going to be under pressure. A, to keep his position, B, to not get injured, and then C, every next youngster or player that they sign is fighting for your position. So I think there's a lot of internal and external pressures there. But at the end of the day, we're professional athletes. You've got to go and work harder. You've got to go and fight for your spot. And I think, that would be the same concept at any club. It's just, Sundowns takes it to the next level because of the quality of players that they sign. But that said, it's not like Terrence has given up. He's working hard, he's training, he's, whatever game time he gets, he tries to, perform to the best of his ability. But, sometimes it's always difficult when you're in the team and then you for a game and then you miss out 2-3 games and you're back in again, and it's tough, to find your rhythm and find your groove. You'll know. So, like I said, he's trying to do his best, but we are going to have some hard discussions now with Sundowns and see, well, what is the best option for him going forward? He wants to be in the national team for AFCON. He wants to be in the national team for World Cup, of course. But he's going to need to get game time, whether that's a loan move somewhere. There has been interest in Europe for him too. But whether that would be on loan with an option to buy or, we'd have to see from there.
Sure. Your phone is going to be ringing nonstop in May. You better get those flying miles also sorted, Gary, because or get yourself a charter flight.
I wish.
It's going to get busy. It's going to get busy
it's going
for
to be.
you.
I think it's.
Otherwise,
I don't actually even think just for me. I think this is going to be a busy transfer window in general, for everyone. I think there's going to be a lot of player movements. There's going to be a lot of contracting done for new contracts. I think this is going to be probably one of the most exciting transfer windows since COVID. Yeah, so let's see what happens.
you gave me already a topic. We don't do enough for legends. Here's another one. You're signing off with one again, and then we could even discuss commercializing some of the athletes, how they can benefit outside of football. I think there's another lane. So Gary, I get a feeling I'm going to see you a lot more on Soccerbeat.
Anytime. Yeah. No, but I definitely think that the legends discussion is something to be had, because I'll give you a quick example. Me growing up as a white kid, and even in the apartheid days, when I watched and support local football, and I grew up playing youth football at Vasco da Gama from the age of like 6 years old, and
Sure.
when we watch local football, we knew Kaizer Chiefs, we knew Pirates. I'm Cape Town based, so I knew of Cape Town Spurs. I think Vasco was a feeder to Cape Town Spurs then. And then obviously we knew of Hellenic. But, when we watched, everyone knew Kaizer Chiefs and the brand and how big it was. Doc Kamala, if you ask any young white South African from our generation, name a footballer from South Africa, everyone knows Dr. Kamala. Now, why is Dr. Kamala not the face of Kaizer Chiefs? And if I own Kaizer Chiefs, I'd be using that oak for every presentation, every meeting, every advertising board, because I believe he's one of the biggest names to come out of Kaizer Chiefs. Yes, you got like the newer generation of the Shabas and the Kunes and all that, and the Bernard Parkers and all that. That did a lot for South African football and Kaizer Chiefs. But as I said to you, from my generation growing up, Doc Kamala was the only footballer on our lips.
Ooh. Generational.
Where is Doc Kamala now?
Gauteng. Let's actually connect you, Doc. Gary wants to connect you to he's wondering where you're at. Doc, get over here.
Yeah. We need to do more. We need to do more.
For sure.
We can't let our legends fall by the wayside. We've got to do more.
For sure. Much respect, man. Thank you, Gary. You've planted another seed. Yeah, as I said, you're securing yourself a return on Soccerbeat. So we already agree. It's a pre-signed agreement. Is it called when you sign in January with 6 months left?
Pre-contract.
It's a pre-contract. Get Gary that. It's a pre-contract that you'll be back on Soccerbeat.
100%. Done.
Soccerbeat.